Hello and welcome, my dear YouTube channel family members, and all those who are not our family members yet but who are just going to become our family members by subscribing. Click the subscribe button so that you become our family members and you embark on this journey of improvement, of knowledge, of power, wisdom, of positivity and practicality on this channel with us. So you just subscribe quickly, and also you will be able to enjoy some good organic cooking recipes. So please do subscribe. And today we are into the 14th part of the online workshop on time management. This is the second last part of this workshop, and we will be discussing many things about time management, newer things now, and of course we need to revise also some points that we have already discussed in the previous parts of this workshop. So we'll be doing that as well, and we'll be moving forward as well. And time management is a very important skill, because when we take time in our hands, it means we are taking life in our hands. I really like this image a lot of this watch in a hand, and the watch has wings as well. It stands for me as a metaphor for time flying, for time having wings, and a human being, an individual, taking control of that time, controlling that time. That's why I put up this image on this workshop of mine. And it's so expressive. I think it just translates time. It is an image that translates the essence of time, and it's beautifully done. That's why I put it up here for all of you. It gives food for thought in itself. Now, before we start off with the part 14 of this workshop and start discussing some points on time management, I must remind all of you that if some points have been missed by you people, please go to the previous workshop parts as well after you've listened to this, and watch them, read everything, listen to everything, so that everything gets revised now. 13 parts have gone by. We are into the 14th and second last part of this workshop. So you must, revise things once. So do that, please. And let's discuss what we have to in today's part of this workshop, online workshop on time management. I have put an image of Garfield here, who is looking very arrogant, and he's just lying down and resting, and he has popcorns by his side, and he's wearing very nice sneakers as well, and he says, "I can, but I won't." So that is his arrogant attitude. Actually, we all can do things, but we do not do them. We do not go for doing them. We do not put in that extra effort, because somehow, unlike Garfield, we do not believe that we can. Okay, so we have to believe first that we can. We have to train ourselves, train our minds accordingly, and then we have to go on with life, and that really helps us. And that also helps us in controlling our time, because when you gain control over your time, you are actually gaining control over your life, and vice versa. These things, life is made up of time, and time makes up life. So once you have control of time, you have control of your life. And if you have control of your life, that means you are in control of your time. I mean, you have time in your control. So these things go hand in hand. It's like, how can you improve yourself in time management? You can improve by learning different techniques. First of all, you one technique is you take breaks while you're working. Well, when you take breaks, doesn't that waste your time? Well, it doesn't. Seriously, it doesn't. Because when you're working continuously without any breaks, you get tired. You get tired physically, you get tired mentally. And when you are tired and working in that condition, your output is lowered. And if your output is lowered, you're actually not making the best use of your time. Your time is being wasted. That's why I say you should take breaks while working. Of course, they should be realistic breaks. You should not always be on a break. They should be realistic breaks, but give yourself 5 minutes break after you have worked, say for 20 minutes, so that you get a bit fresh, and then you start off again and you will work better in the next 20 minutes. So that's a very important and interesting technique. You should try it out, and you will be, I think, doing much better than you are at the moment. Then you should learn the art of saying no also. We have discussed that previously in the previous parts of the workshop as well. You should be able to say no very, very politely to a person who brings you a chore or an assignment to do that hampers your own assignment, say. So we have discussed it already in detail. You can go back to the previous parts and you will get detailed discussion about it there. Then you should be creating systems and processes for yourself. That there are so many machines here in this world now. Scientifically, we are living in an advanced world, and we have different machines, different technology to help us in every field. And if we, according to our assignments, according to our job requirements, according to what we are doing, if we make up systems with those machines, if we set up processes with those machines, what happens? We are saving our time. We are getting the best out of our time, because these gadgets really help us a lot. Okay? And when we talk about these gadgets, we also talk about constant improvement technically, because when we are improving technically constantly, we are learning new things and about how to use the technology that can be in our domain, that can help us do things in our particular discipline, or the things that we are working with, the technology that's being used with that, or that can be used with that can be helpful with it. When we are constantly improving ourselves, our knowledge about that technology, that technique, it helps us again to take control of time, okay, and do more in lesser time span. So that is also very important. Then when I talked about saying no to people, when you say no, you are eliminating obligations, and you are working on your own task and not on somebody else's task in your time. So that way also you are saving time. Okay, so some of the techniques are these. Then you should improve your computer literacy, your skills, your creativity, all these things. When you are learning, when you are gaining knowledge, what happens? You become more powerful because you have more knowledge, because you are more learned, And when you have more knowledge, when you are more learned, it increases your output capacity. And that output that you give in lesser time span than you could previously. So improve yourself, improve your knowledge, keep improving your skills. It's very important, if you think that improving your skill or gaining knowledge is only, it won't be helpful to you, you're wrong. All knowledge that you gain, all skills that you gain, all skills that you polish, it helps you a lot in life, in one way or the other. And it helps you in doing things in a much better way. And when that happens, you are actually taking control of your life. You're actually taking control of the time that's in your hands. Okay? We talked about computer literacy, computer skills. If you are reading a book, how much time do you spend on it? Two people are reading the same book. One person is able to finish reading that book earlier than the other person. How? What happens? Because he has worked on his reading skills, so he will take lesser time in reading the book. You know what reading skills are? Well, I'll talk very briefly about it, but I'll give you an example. You have taken a book in your hand and you're going to start reading it, and you have to read it from finish till end. But how will you read it in a way that you understand the messages in it and that you do not take a lot of time in reading it? Well, you have to skim through it. The skimming technique in reading is very important. And what is the skimming technique? You read the first line of a paragraph, the center lines of a paragraph, and the end lines of the paragraph, and you will get your message. A well-written book will tell you that way what is there in the paragraph. This is skimming. And if you think you need to read more in detail about that, you can read the whole paragraph then, or go on to the next para. So improve your reading skills, and that will improve your reading speed, and that will help you take control of your time. Then you should delegate different things. You should be able to give responsibility to other people and take, make them work for yourself, because great brains are able to make use of other brains, and that is through their critical thinking and through the delegation that they do, and through the work that they get done from other people and through other people. So do that also. Then your negotiation skills should improve. Your emotional intelligence works a lot in managing your time well. If you are able to handle situations with the help of emotional intelligence, that helps you a lot. If you are unable to do that, you take much longer in handling the situation, and there you're wasting your time. Then multitasking in a positive manner is very important. We discussed in the previous part of this workshop, multitasking without thinking about it and trying to do 10 things at the same time cannot help you. That is useless multitasking. Multitasking should be done in a manner that it helps you, that simultaneously, if you're doing 2 things or 3 things, all of them get done in a proper way, and not that none of them gets done by the end of the day. So think about that. Critical thinking should develop, and with that your multitasking will become better, and you will take lesser time in doing things. Then you should be able to solve problems very quickly. because we discussed previously also various life situations come in, and we have to of course solve various problems that come our way. And if we are able to solve those issues in lesser time, we are wasting lesser time. Okay, so all these things we discussed previously also. This is kind of an overview of what we have been discussing, and I think all of you would agree with me in all these points and all these techniques. If you keep them in mind, they will help you a lot in managing your time. Today we are going to discuss that we find work overload at all times in our lives. Doesn't that happen? We are always overloaded with work. And when that happens, how do we manage it? This is very important. We will be discussing about this thing today in this part of the workshop, and we will come to a conclusion about how we can manage our work overload. Work overload, the feeling of work overload, when you are really feeling bogged down by the work responsibilities that you have on you, and you feel that you have lesser time to do things and to do a lot of things that are there to be done by you and that are your responsibilities, then you become anxious. And when you start becoming anxious, you start taking stress about that certain thing, which is very bad for you mentally, physically, because your health also is negatively affected by it. So we must know how to manage our work overload. That's why we'll be discussing about it. See, there's a man here. He is a senior man and he's serious, and he says discipline and organization, these are the two rules to manage your work overload. And he's very right. We have to be disciplined, we have to be organized in order to manage our workload. Now, wherever we are in such a situation and we have to manage our time accordingly, and we have to be disciplined and we have to be organized, what do? There are a few steps that we will discuss. One is, you first must of all plan your things. The project that you're working on, the assignment that you're working on, you must plan how you're going to work on it, how you're going to move towards your goal or aim, whatever it is, how you're going to move about it, how will you reach it in a specific time frame. Then you should, when you're planning about it, you should be prioritizing things as well. And what should be done first, what has to be done later, what can be done later, and how will you go about it. It should be a complete plan. If you remember, in the third part of the workshop, I discussed all these things in detail as well. How you can prioritize your things. Prioritizing was discussed in detail in the third part of this workshop. You can go back to it and listen to it, view it there as well. But prioritizing is very important. You should be prioritizing your things, and that will make things come under your control. And when things are under your control, you can become more efficient. How can you become more efficient? We will be discussing later as well. But efficiency also calls for delegation of different things. It also calls for breaking down of a project, that is planning a project and breaking it down into different smaller tasks and then moving towards your goal. So all these things are very important when you are trying to combat work overload. And then what you should do is, because you have prioritized your things, you have broken down your project into smaller tasks, you will be needing different reminders and alerts at different times so that you don't miss out on things. And when you don't miss out on things and you work accordingly, what happens? You are able to complete your task in the given framework of time. And that means you are combating work overload and time in a very, very good manner. And you are overpowering work overload. You are overpowering your time constraints. And that means you are a successful person. You are a successful time manager. And that means bravo for you. So all these things, if we do that, if we move in this sequence, and if we think, if we are disciplined enough, organized enough to move according to a certain plan of action, then we are able to take time in our hands. So we should not be stressed out by things. We should not fear or be scared of things as they come our way, and we should not be scared of work overload, because anxiety, being scared, fear of the unknown, all these things hamper our work in progress. And we should do away with them first and then move on according to the plan of action that I have just discussed with you, that is there in front of you also. And you can go back to the image also, and of course refresh things in your mind. Okay, so we are talking about work overload and the way we are going to manage it, and there are some more points here that we are going to discuss. We already discussed that this thing that we have more work to do and lesser time to do it causes stress in us, makes us anxious. But we have to manage our stress also. We don't have to be stressed out because of it. We already discussed it. How? We already discussed the different stages of different stages for time management, different ways we are going to work on it and manage things and manage our time and manage our stress. And now we are going to discuss more about it. It's written here, the essence of time management is decide what to do and then do it. When you have to decide what you're going to do, and when you have decided, you have planned for things, you are going to work better towards it then. Well, in a previous part of this workshop, I discussed in detail with you people that you should make 3 columns. In the first column, you should put all those things that are important to be done, that need to be done immediately. And in the second column, the things that can be deferred but that have to be done. And in the third column, the things that are not important at all, probably you'll never do them, but they'll keep weighing upon your mind. And then I said, delete the third column. Do the things in the first 2 columns. So if you want to get the details about that point, you can go back to the previous part of this workshop and you can watch it, and you will be, of course, refreshing your knowledge about this point a lot. But here also we are discussing the 4 Ds of time management, and once you decide what you do, the 2 Ds are defer it, keep it there in the to-do pile, in the to-do list, but keep it there for a future time. It has to be done in future. So when something of that nature crops up, you are going to use reminders and alerts so that you don't forget doing it then. Okay, so that is very important. Defer it. Defer is the first D. Then you have dump it. D. Dump is the second D. And things that are not important but they weigh upon your mind, just delete them. Forget about them. Okay. Don't let them disturb you. Don't let them make you stressed out. Don't let them take your time. Don't let them make you lesser productive. So this is what these are the 2 Ds. of time management. The other two D's are: when you have decided what to do, then do it. Do it. Do is the third D. You have to do it. You have to take the first step. You have to take the plunge. You have to take your flight. You have to start doing your task. Don't feel scared about this is not the right time to start doing it, or it's such a lengthy job, how will I be able to complete it? Because if you become stressed about that, and if you become fearful of that, you won't be able to complete your task. So start doing it immediately. The sooner you start doing it, the better will it be for you. The fourth D is delegate it. You have your plans, you have prioritized things, you have broken down your project into smaller tasks. Now delegate the responsibilities to other people. It's not always that only you and you can do a certain task and it should be done by you only and nobody else will do it better. It is that you talk to people, delegate responsibilities, and communicate to them very, very clearly which line they should be moving in, what goal they are going to move towards, and how they will be working, what should be their work strategy, and they will give you results. Why not? So delegate things. Use other brains for your own benefit. That's very important in managing time, in managing life. So when you do all these things, things will become better for you. Time will be managed quicker in a better way by you. Okay, so think about it and it will give you very, very good points to ponder upon. Peter Chula is the president of National Management Institute in America, and he's one of the world's leading time management authorities who help people work smarter. And he said, if the consequence of doing nothing is nothing, then do nothing. Is it possible? When you don't do anything? Well, take an example of a student. A student doesn't study, okay? And he goes to take his exam. And he takes his answer sheet and he doesn't write anything. What will happen? Will it have no consequences? The consequence will be he will fail. So there always are consequences of doing nothing, and they're always negative. The result of doing nothing is always negative. So when Peter Chula said that, he meant that you should be doing something in order to evade negative consequences. Okay, so you should always be working towards your goal. You should always be trying to take control of time, and that only will be helping you. Otherwise, you will be crushed by time. Okay, so here I have put in a comic strip so that our mood gets lighter, and of course there will be a message in it also. This is probably the CEO of the company, and he says, your staffing model called for hiring more people, but I found a better way to fix our staffing issues. And he says, he's saying that, and the woman who's probably the HR specialist says, how? He says, I removed all unproductive time like lunches and breaks. No need. And she is looking amazed with eyes bulging out at him. And he says, no need to apologize for your lack of imagination. Your look of admiration is enough. And he's calling it look of admiration. And she doesn't know now what to say or what to do. And he says, and here comes the VP of Human Resources. The VP of Human Resources is also there. Judging by her angry face, she is probably jealous of my brilliance. So he thinks that overstaffing is something that can be avoided by minimizing or just eliminating lunch breaks and other breaks, because people will be working throughout then, and they will be working more, and lesser people will be doing the work of more people. Actually, what will happen, as we just discussed, their productivity will become lessened. Their productivity will become lessened, and because of that, the output will be very bad, and of course, time will be wasted. So he is not being brilliant. He is being, I think, he is closing his eyes to reality, and the reality is there should be more people to do that particular task that they are talking about. So when you need more people to do certain things, you actually need them. They should be employed there. You should be giving responsibility then to more people, as we have just been discussing. So this was just in the lighter streak. This happens. People try to make the maximum out of the staff that they have already hired because they don't want to pay more, and in the process the quality of work is reduced. It becomes worse and worse. So we should avoid that always. I think it's enough for today, and for this 14th part of time management workshop, this is enough, and we will be winding it up here with this comic strip. I invite you all to join my YouTube channel family by subscribing to the channel, and of course embarking on this journey of regular improvement and growth on our channel. And of course with this training, soft skills training, you will also get some nice organic cooking recipes for your health and a healthy life. So subscribe quickly to the channel, like and share, and of course stay happy, stay healthy. Of course, you should be taking control of your time. You should be thinking about all that we have discussed, and evolve your new strategies to take time in your control. Take care. Cheers.